December 12, 2020, dear televiewers watching us back at home, it's a pleasure receiving you once more for one of your favorite evening talk show program, Viewpoint on Dbs television. Members of the Senate and the National Assembly will this Friday meet in Congress to receive the oath-taking of Professor Joseph Owona, appointed member of the Constitutional Council by presidential decree last April. And talking about the second ordinary session of the current legislative this year, we are going to be touching certain aspects concerning it on this particular show tonight. As our guest, we have Mr. Tanko Blashus. He is a teacher, not a new face. Quite some time back, weeks ago, you must have seen him. And we have Mange Venashus, your regular man, always there to accompany me and you. That said, good evening to you, sir, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation once more.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, dear televiewers. Wish you all the best.
Wish them all the best.
Yeah.
Mange Venashus, it's my pleasure seeing you again or having you.
It's my pleasure as well, Vanessa, and good evening to our viewers at home.
All right, let us take some seconds. I will be right back. It has to do normally with the yes or no and answer question. First question for tonight: as Parliament is in session, is there any major change expected from them? I begin with you, Mr. Tanko. Yes or no?
There is no major change we are expecting from them.
All right, you are expecting nothing from them. Mange Venashus.
Yes, I think they were expecting something a lot from them.
You're expecting a lot. Question 2: does Cameroon need a bicameral legislation?
No, I don't think so.
He doesn't think so. Mange Venashus, what do you say about this?
I share the same opinion. We don't need it.
And our last question for tonight: the President of the National Assembly frowned on Cameroonians for not respecting barrier measures. Is his action logical, sir?
Illogical.
Illogical. That is a no. Mange Venashus.
I think it is.
It is logical.
Yes.
All right. Let us come back for the second part of the show. That is the debate. Welcome back once more. In our first question, we are asking that as the second ordinary session is currently going on, is there any major change expected from them? And from the viewpoint of Mr. Tanko tonight, there is no change expected from them. Why do you think there is no change?
There's no change expecting from them because we have a window dresser of a parliament. Meaning that the parliament is there, just there for formalities, because like in the Cameroon parliament, there had never been something like the private members bill, which has come to do, which has been ever gone through. In the parliament, bills that always come and taken to cognizance are always bills from the government bench, which, to my own opinion, do not favor the people, do not bring the changes that people need so much. Because the parliamentarians coming back from their various constituencies, they have various needs which could have better made the nation a better one. But it's unfortunate that the country that we have, party discipline is more than is more important and more precious for parliamentarians more than the electorate who voted them in.
Who voted them in? So you're saying that if they are sitting in now, they're sitting more of their party interest rather than of the interest of the people that voted them.
Sure, that's what is happening, because they are looking forward to the party interest. For example, you see what is happening. Once you speak and you go out of the party's interest to defend the interests of the people, you are being cautioned, or you are not even given the rostrum to mount the rostrum to say anything again. So that's the way I look at it.
That is the way you look at
Yes.
it. All right, that is your point of view, and thank you for expressing it. Mange Venashus, you rather think there is much to be expected from these parliamentarians who are seated, surely discussing about certain laws concerning Cameroonians and the entire nation for our well-being. And you say a lot is expected from them, contrary to what Mr. Tanko is saying tonight, that they are just simply mere formalities.
Yes, Vanessa, I always believe in this, give somebody the opportunity to disgrace himself the more or herself. I think that we are going through a very critical moment. Cameroon, like any other country in the world, we are passing through a very severe health crisis, and in fact, every community is being challenged by this crisis. Now, parliamentarians are in session, and to say that we don't expect anything from them is like to conclude that they mean nothing to us as they are. They are there.
But not even issues, probably because they've been sitting once or twice and nothing good is coming up.
Since independence, Cameroon has never lived what we are living now. So, from every indication, they are having one of their first challenge in their hands to handle. If these parliamentarians should round up this June session without bringing out concrete issues that will ameliorate the living conditions of Cameroonians,
during this pandemic,
then I would share the same opinion like Mr. Tanko, that they are a window dresser. But as of now, if they are still in session, they should table the reality that Cameroonians are facing. We are going through a severe crisis, like I said, and these parliamentarians, they have to look at what the government must do to alleviate the living conditions of Cameroonians. Vanessa, the rate at which this virus is increasing in Cameroon, it is because Cameroonians have no other option. If Cameroonians were given an option, I think that the issue of because when they say lockdown, Cameroon has never been locked down. Cameroon has never been locked down. People have been going on, and when you ask them, they tell you, if we don't go out, instead of dying of coronavirus, we will die of hunger. I think that this parliament has to sit and debate on what they should do. That's why we call them lawmakers. And that is why they have the duty to look for solutions where there are no solutions, because now the government is looking on them. They should say something and see how they can handle the situation. Remember, the budget that we have was insufficient. The head of state had to come in with some ordinances, supplementing and completing the finance law. But then we think that the parliamentarians now, they should go to real concrete issues. We are talking of mass testing in our communities. It has not been carried out. Of recent, the Minister of Public Health signed some decrees or some communiques asking health centers in Yaoundé to open testing sites to ensure rapid mass testing. Cameroon is not surrounded in Yaoundé. Cameroon is far more than Yaoundé. Only Yaoundé does not represent Cameroon. I think that these parliamentarians, they have to table their own complaints. We need the mass testing in my own constituency, so much so that at the end of maybe this session, or 2 months or 1 month after this, we should be able to give the real statistics of Cameroon. If they don't do it, then they are actually confirming the fact that they are just there for
Mr. Danko, I hand over the words to you.
Yeah, Mr. Mange, you make me laugh. Because you know the country in which we are. You see, at first, when we had an opposition which had a big number in the parliament, when the debates were heated and things went sour, the opposition staged walkout. It did not change anything. Today, out of the 180 parliamentarians or so, CPDM is having at least 160, if I'm not mistaken, 160 or more.
Yeah, 162, I think.
So yeah, when you look at it from that angle, it is now coming back. We are in a single party system, whereby you discover that you are elected today, you go and say thanks to the head of state. You do anything comes your way, it's not because you merited it, it's thanks to the head of state. At the end of it all, you will be doing everything according to the head of state. It's unfortunate we know that when people are growing old, they are senile. And when you are senile, it means that you don't reason normally. Because you don't bear with me that your grandfather will reason the same like you in every context. So See, if everything you are saying, thanks to my grandfather, it means that you don't even have a head to reason on your own. So that's the way I look at it.
That is the way.
And looking at it too from the COVID-19 issue, where we are the parliamentarians, if they thought of the COVID-19 issue as it was supposed to be like this, during the March session, Kavaye came from abroad. And because he wanted to maintain his position, he simply went straight into the parliament. That's uncalled for. That's
uncalled for. And I continue with you, Mr. Tanko. Concerning our second question, does Cameroon need a bicameral legislation? By that, we mean the various arms, that is the Assembly and the Senate. And you don't think that is necessary in Cameroon?
It's simply a waste of time and money.
How come? They are the ones to sit and discuss about our laws. They are the ones to come out with our constitutional laws.
It is I still repeat, it is a waste of time and money. How do I say so? No law has ever gone through the Cameroonian parliament, move to the Senate and have a change. It's just like you take a sieve. You sieve flour, you take that flour again, you pass it through another sieve which is of the same size, and you expect to remove chaff. What will you remove from it?
What will you remove from it?
That's what is happening.
But they are there to represent the people. They are there for us, like they carry our worries there and they discuss about it.
It's unfortunate if they were representing the people, the millions that were given for them to buy cars, they could have said, no, let's look at the COVID-19 issue before looking at the cars. Health first before any material things. Like in my house, I prefer that my children eat and are healthy before I look for any other thing. That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
Representing the family, as well as they are representing us in parliament. Mange Fenashus, we do not need it. He said it's a waste of resources.
I share the same opinion, because when you, like you said, when you look at the way things are handled, you see that we have these houses of legislature because we want to maintain some formalities. I don't know, because what is the function of the Senate when the parliament will debate and they say they will send the laws to the Senate, and once it goes to the Senate simply sign? Are we just looking for people who just go there and rubber stamp everything? I think that when we talk of a bicameral legislature, like in some other countries, they meet constantly. They don't meet in these ordinary sessions that we meet. We've gone through trials in so many instances. We're talking especially like this crisis that we have in the Northwest and Southwest region that is going already for 4 years. But then we have heard nothing that the Parliament or the Senate said this. Who are they representing? Or don't we have senators and parliamentarians from the Northwest and Southwest regions? What do they mean when we say they are representing them? What do they mean when they say they are people's representative? Or representing them, is it only when it comes to elections? Or representing them, is it only when they want that we should vote for them? I think that when you are representing them is you take their worries to where solutions will come from. But when they go there, we have a crisis that in a normal parliament, in a normal Senate, they would have stood up to say that this crisis should end. In a normal Senate, when you listen to some other, I want to say a bit democratic countries, you see them challenging government action in the Senate, in the parliament.
In the parliament.
Taking ministers to question. Which minister in Cameroon has ever been taken to question in the parliament or in the Senate? We are talking about the African Nation Cup that was taken away from Cameroon in 2019. We have the Senate, where they will come and tell Cameroonians that a bag of cement is 16,000 francs. A bag of cement is sold as 4,200 francs. Cameroon government buys it at 16,000 francs. And they tell you when you have to buy it, the other documents, office, running of the office, they all included in that bag of cement. And Cameroon government pays. And the Senate does not say anything. The parliament does not say anything. So we don't need them. We don't need them.
So if we don't need them, who are those that will sit down to enact these laws?
We need just a parliament. We need just a parliament. And we put the Senate aside. When the president of Senegal came, he dissolved the Senate and remained with the parliament.
With the parliament.
Because the Senate does nothing. It's nothing actually. And look at the constitution of the Senate. 3/4 of those who constitute the Senate are people of the third age group, if not the fourth. And Mr. Tanko was saying something that when you reach a certain age, you start becoming slow in reasoning. You will not tell me that those people who are in the Senate can sit for 4 hours reasoning and their reasoning capacity is the same. Unless they are other extra human beings with extra endowment of knowledge and strength. Because you will not tell me that they tell you that the Senate has been sitting on for 4 hours, for 5 hours, and you tell me that these people are still there thinking, reading. That is why when they bring any bill, it passes. Because they don't have the time to sit, they don't have the strength, they don't have the mental capability to sit and it's not what you read. It is the sense of what you read. You should be able to read sense from what you are reading. And that's why ministers will just come with any kind of budget and it passes. Nobody questions it. Now we have a parliament that has a certain number of young people. We think that these young people, that they should inject some kind of new blood into that parliament and provoke, because the parliament has a role to check government's action. Yes, so they should come in and check government's action, not come in and formalize government action, because they just come in and say this each minister was passing for question and answer session. Vanessa, you don't take a question to a minister and you write the question, go and give him first. Any other person will prepare his answer, right or wrong. And when he prepares his answer, you don't have any. You don't go back to the question. You just go to the question. He knows that this one has asked the question. He answers it, and that's all. Surprise him with the question, and you see how confused he will be. So I think that when we talk of checking government action, the parliament should do that. We don't need a Senate in Cameroon because they have been doing nothing ever their creation. They have been doing nothing. What can the Senate say? This is what we have achieved in Cameroon. And
probably maybe this question will awaken their consciences to actually think how they could work to ameliorate the conditions of Cameroonians and representing them as they are supposed to do. Our third question for tonight: the President of the National Assembly frowned on Cameroonians for not respecting barrier measures, and we are asking whether his action is logical. Mr. Tanko, you don't think is logical? We know when he came back from abroad, I think that is when the Prime Minister came out, the head of government came out with 17 measures in order to respect or to contain the coronavirus. But like you rightly said earlier, that he went straight, in order to maintain his position, he went straight to Parliament. And you don't think that his action is logical for him to caution Cameroonians? As an elderly person, a wise man with all the capabilities he could have, does he not stand in that position to advise us as Cameroonians respect COVID-19 barrier measures?
If you are a father in a house and you keep on beating your wife, how will you tell your son that wife battering is bad?
He might beat his wife, but then he stands in the position to caution the son.
Good. You see, what we do as elders affect the younger generation. Let me quote you an example. There's one day that I and my wife were clowning, and my wife simply told me, "Move." You know what the child said? The child came and told her, Mommy, come. Does anyone in this house insult Daddy? Has Daddy ever insulted you? The answer was no. Go back and apologize to Daddy. That's the lesson. You cannot be frowning at somebody on what you are doing. Because if I am frowning at you that, Vanessa, why are you smiling so much? Yes, if I'm saying that, Vanessa, why are you smiling so much? It means that I'm frowning. And you need to follow from me and frown. But if you come, the barrier measures put on by the Prime Minister, simply because you feel that maybe the Prime Minister is fourth in command or fifth in command in terms of hierarchy in the state, and you bypass his barrier measures, and you feel that others will keep to the barrier measures, it is wrong. Why is he talking of COVID-19 now? During the assembly, when he came, did he talk of the COVID-19 in the assembly? No.
He was supposed to be confined for 14 days.
He was supposed to be quarantined. He did not talk about the COVID-19. Secondly, you discover that Cameroon have pertinent issues. The parliament shies away from them. I'm sorry to say this, the parliament shies away from its responsibilities. Because they are coming now to the COVID-19 because they know that it's a worldwide type of thing. When the crisis in Cameroon started, beginning in the northwest, the beginning from Boko Haram, when they talked of the Boko Haram, it was top in the parliament. When it came now to the crisis that has shaken the country to its marrows, that is making the citizens suffer, like that of the northwest and southwest, nothing was said about it. But now he expects us that we should follow. He expects people to follow his footsteps. If they follow his footsteps the way he is doing it, and the way then it means that this country will have to be crying in a short run, not in a long run.
Not in a long run.
Yeah.
Manga Venatius, you think his action is logical, but then there's this common saying that if you are a leader, lead by example.
Exactly. If you are a leader, lead by example. To accept that our leaders make an error is a fact. They are human beings. But then we must understand that there is one thing in human life. Once you recognize that you have made an error, there's that humility that you need to come back to your error. And from when I read the President of the National Assembly, when I listened to him talking when he was opening the second ordinary session, I read in him somebody who have recognized, maybe people have spoken to him that this thing that you did was wrong, this thing that you did was wrong, and he understood it. Because normally, like Mr. Tanko is saying, he did not say anything about it during the last year's March session. But then now he's talking about it, which means he has realized that actions of Cameroonians like his that he started is leading us to nowhere. We are already getting close to 9,000 confirmed cases. And if we continue like that, the situation may be worse. So I think that he has recognized, like an elderly person, that I was wrong. And I think that just with that is authoritative voice to tell us, respect the barrier measures, wear your mask and this. I think that it should ring a bell to Cameroonians that, no, this man who did not do this last time, now he's talking about this time. It would appear that he has seen, an African adage tells us that what an old man sees while sitting down, a young man, even if you climb a tree, you cannot see it. So I think that it is an eye-opener for Cameroonians to think that what the President of the National Assembly, given his age, because they say age is wisdom, given his age, maybe he has seen that the future looks too gloomy. So if we don't mend our ways, we don't make hay while the sun is still shining, then in winter we will not be able to survive. So I think that's why he is calling on Cameroonians to start respecting these barrier measures. If not, we may be heading for hard times. So I think it is logical, Vanessa.
It is logical. So as we are about to end the show, what could you tell Cameroonians at this particular moment?
Concerning this COVID-19, I will simply tell them, don't look at what the Prime Minister or what the President of the National Assembly is saying. Don't look at no. Let's take it as a personal assignment that I will protect myself, I will protect my family from COVID-19. And once we do that, we'll be able to protect the community as well. Because there is nobody who is called the government. The government is not Prime Minister. The government is not Paul Biya. The government is not the Minister of Public Health or Kabaye or whoever. The government is you and I. And if we decide to fight the virus, we are fighting for our own good. Remember, when you die, it is not the government that will come and die in your place. Or when you are contaminated with the virus, it is not the Kabaye, it's not Prime Minister, it's not Minister of Public Health, but you as an individual. So I think that we should take the fight as an individual fight and let government simply assist us in that fight. And to you, Mr. Tanko Bleshus?
For me, during this period, I just feel that health is an individual issue. Once everybody is conscious about his or her health, we will do it. That's all I have to say. That's all. It has been a pleasure having you. Probably wishing you a happy weekend. Same to you, Madam Vanessa. And to you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of us throughout the week for Viewpoint on DBS Television. See you again on Monday, God willing. Meantime, keep on watching our programs.